It's for the vibe, brother. It's for the vibe.
Hi, and welcome to the Boundary Talk. This is the podcast where you learn to master the art of your boundaries so you can protect your time, you can protect your energy, and live a life that's really fulfilling and true to your values. Let's dig deep into our topic today. What's the topic, Chris?
So today we're talking boundaries still, but boundaries involving other people. So we actually had an impromptu conversation as we were heading in to record the episode, and we're like, this is exactly what we should speak about. So what to do when you see someone else not necessarily following their own boundaries, especially a boundary that they've told you that they're putting in place, and then you either see them breaking it, or even worse, they ask you to help them break it. Maybe not even intentionally. They're not saying coming to you and saying, "Hey, please help me break this thing that I said I wasn't going to go and do." But it could just be something as little as asking for tobacco, for instance.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of the topic, man. Shit. Okay, so should I tell the story? Why
It was like, can we talk about something else?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, no. We're always honest here in this podcast.
Of
That's
course.
why. So the situation is this: 2 months and 8 days ago, from the moment we recorded this podcast, I stopped smoking tobacco completely. Now, I used to enjoy the green ones with tobacco, and basically now smoking the green one when doing it pure, I just don't like it. And that's why we had this situation. I told him, yeah, for over 2 months I'm not a smoker. Woo! I don't feel good with tobacco anymore. I don't want it anymore. And then last night I was like, can I just have a little bit of tobacco? Just a little bit.
And here was the dilemma for me, and this is where the subject really came from.
Yeah.
So, I've recently flown back to Switzerland after being in England, and on my way here, went through the duty free and picked up myself some tobacco. So I have a fair amount of tobacco here with me, and so when he asked me for some tobacco, sorry, we're being slightly interrupted by the public. When he asked me for some tobacco, I obviously had it, and so I had then the dilemma of, well, do I now help my friend that I can help easily, or do I help reinforce a boundary that he's currently self-imposing? So that's what we're going today.
Yeah.
And I think this can sort of, when you're confronted with this problem, I think for me, we should discuss, but for me it falls into 3 different categories of how you can approach it. You're either someone who would help them not break that boundary, so you do everything that you can to help them stop. You can be indifferent, meaning, you know, it's like, well, you live your own life, you know, I live mine. If you set a boundary and break it, then, you know, that's on
But
you.
you keep saying it?
Well, I mean, just that it would be like you just allow people to live their life. You know,
Okay,
like
so
you
you
could
don't
come to
care.
me and say, "Oh, you've stopped." Like, in one way, you could look at it, say that you don't care. In another way, you could just say, "Well, who am I to impose
Because everyone is
my
self-responsible.
ideals and opinions on you?" And then the third one would be that you are an enabler, someone that helps people break their back. And again, maybe not even intentionally. You just
Sounds like
you just
the
want
devil.
you just want to be nice. You know, you could just want to be a nice person.
Yeah, the
just
devil
help.
is a nice person, you know.
Yeah,
really.
I suppose. So, so on this one directly, based on the my actions, how did I do? What category would I fall into? I mean, the
Can you
the,
explain
view- well,
to
the
people
viewers
what
the
did you
viewers
do?
don't even know right now
Yeah.
what I did. So
Yeah. So, okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about the story as well. But in my case, with the tobacco, because I think in our case, because you know, I'm purely self-responsible for myself, and I'm very aware of that. So when I ask for this, I'm totally aware that I'm basically. It's not that I break a boundary. I stopped smoking tobacco because it was time to stop finally, and taking a little bit for this other ritual, I can leave it there. I don't need to restart it again, because even when I use it that way, I don't feel so great.
Can I ask you, how do you feel about that? That you, even when you said you don't smoke tobacco anymore, you still did it with the green
I did
stuff.
it this one time. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel about? Do you feel like you break your high score through the last 2 months?
No.
No.
No, because breaking my high score, my woo, 2 months a day.
Yeah, you can celebrate. It's a nice
I
word.
definitely do celebrate, because the way how I used to smoke cigarettes was I drink coffee, I smoke a cigarette. I wake up in the morning, I smoke a cigarette.
So it was a habitual thing.
It was a habitual thing and
okay.
it was a transitional thing. So whenever I would transition from doing this thing to doing this
Yeah,
thing,
and
I
there's
would
a-
need a
yeah.
break.
Yeah.
And this break was always a cigarette, a tobacco. Now, using it that consciously for a ritual that I do by myself, with myself, and for myself, it doesn't feel like I break anything.
Okay.
As long as it stays purely conscious and I can leave it there and I can only use it for what I intended it to use and now not, oh, okay, now I need the tobacco for a transition. I have no urge to smoke at all.
Okay.
Not at all, man.
And when you don't still rethinking it,
No.
or you did the wrong thing or something.
No,
else. Yeah.
no. I really stopped giving myself the bad self-talk.
Yeah, I think it could come down to like how you see smoking cigarettes, like as people would define, do you smoke? That question implies cigarettes, tobacco, rolling tobacco, something like that, and then smoking another recreational substance.
Yeah.
Like you, because I will partake in the occasional recreational substance, and when I do, I would have it with tobacco. But at no point would I consider myself a tobacco smoker
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
see
I
what
wouldn't.
you
I
mean.
don't smoke.
Yeah.
For
You
I
only
don't.
use it
I
in
would say
that
I
case.
don't smoke. You know,
Yeah, you
that
don't, man.
that would be how I define my interaction with it. But I mean, I occasionally inhale tobacco into my lungs. So do I smoke? I
That's
suppose
a very good question.
that's a moral question to
Yeah,
go over at
true
that
that.
point, isn't it? But I can see how you make that distinction in
Yeah.
your mind of I'm not actually breaking this because I'm not smoking, because when
Yeah.
when you gave up tobacco, you were giving up tobacco to stop smoking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and at
Not
the end
just
of the
that,
day,
man.
it's a decision by yourself,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
yourself, right?
So we've either got this perfectly right, or we just sound like a bunch of addicts. Addicts making the perfect excuse.
Oh, my
it's
toxic
good
was great.
Could be both.
Yeah, that's because to me that's what if you are struggling with addiction, you are an addict in some way, shape, or form. That's what you're fighting. The voice in your own head, which convinces you it's okay.
Yeah.
That's all it ever is.
Yeah, true
Okay.
You know,
that.
it just convinces you that it's okay.
I have a
Or-
nice addition to
Or
that one as well.
or just saying you shouldn't do that. I would say these two voices in your head:
Yeah.
the excuses and the
The
how
one
you
which
say-
makes you be responsible.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm. Yeah. The
Yeah.
devil and the angel and the devil on the
Yeah,
shoulder.
angel and the devil.
The tailor's oldest time.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, also with smoking, it was like a habit, a deep ingrained habit. Like I told you, I connected smoking to waking up, to going to bed, and all the things that I did throughout the day. So I had this habit of, I need this, and I really wanted to see what happens with me when I not only break the addiction, but break the habit of having to have a transition like this, and seeing what it does to myself and to my time and to my energy, basically to my boundaries. And the difference is huge, man. Now I have like 2 hours more each day that I can be productive if I want to. And now I can. Because I'm not spending these 2 hours with a negative self-talk. Oh, don't you want to smoke a cigarette, or don't you want to do that instead? Because what I used to do before when I stopped smoking is I always replaced the habit of addiction with another addiction.
Something different, yeah.
So, and you know what? Actually, the first days I stopped smoking tobacco, I bought myself one of these little vapes and just puffed for the pure nicotine when I really had the feeling of, oh shit, now I need it. And it really helped me for the first 7 days. But I knew, because that was my decision, I want to stop this addiction totally. And I'm really glad I did.
What would you say was more difficult for you? Stop the addiction or the habit?
I'd say it's the habit, because for the addiction I chose it consciously. I chose it consciously every time I did it. So I was aware whenever I smoked a cigarette, I am choosing this cigarette now. And because I was aware, I could also say no in that moment. But I said, now I want to smoke the cigarette. So it's just taking full ownership about what I'm doing, right? But the habit was what was starting to control me, because I was just, before I stopped smoking cigarettes, I was like observing how much time does it actually take me smoking throughout all of the day. How much time do I just use for smoking, and how much time do I use for rolling a cigarette, and for having to get somewhere where I can't smoke because I don't have a balcony here. And this was more than 2 hours. So I was like, wow, I'm actually losing 2 hours a day because I choose the cigarette consciously. But what does it actually really bring me? Except for, and I really digged down into my own subconscious mind to find out what it was with me. And for me, it was really, these 5 minutes of smoking a cigarette were basically like a break from whatever I would do, and now it's time just for myself. But since I found out smoking only meant I will take time for myself, and instead of having to communicate a boundary to someone else, now I want time to myself, because the cigarette was just an easy way to take time for myself without having to communicate it. And I realized that, and then it was like, damn, if it's just about communicating the boundary of, now I want time for myself because I need it, because I deserve that, and I needed cigarettes to take this time for myself, to
It's a good excuse.
it was a good excuse. Now I knew it's definitely time to stop smoking, because I want to get back this time, instead of wasting 2 hours over all of the day because I cannot communicate this boundary. I'd rather now communicate, now I want time for myself, and then actually enjoy these 2 hours. And what do I do now with this time? Because the first 30 days, they were horrible. Horrible in a way that I didn't know what to do with myself in this time. Because now I was like, now is the time, now would be the time to smoke cigarettes. So what am I doing? And then I was just walking up and down in my loft. I was like, okay, I have to distract myself of the urge to smoke, except for the other method I used, which was the mantra method.
I know this feeling. I had this exactly the same.
How long did you smoke for?
6 years.
Yeah.
And then I finally stopped after I tried it for, I don't know, 10 times or something.
Yeah.
It was really hard, but like you said, the first month for me, it was like I was back in poverty. Really, because I felt like a teeny again, because my emotions were like
Oh,
up
really?
and down. Really, I had some emotional car drivings with my deepest, saddest music. I was like, it was really bad for me.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But when you Google it, like the symptoms when you stop smoking and stop the addiction from nicotine, exactly this one stands there.
Really?
And step by step, every day, every week, exactly what I read before, exactly this one happened to me. And it's crazy. It's really the habitual thing, because every time when I was at the train station or something, smoking. When I was out with friends, going outside the bar, smoking. I had to pull me out of these situations and go somewhere else and do something else. That was for me, it was the hardest part.
Oh wow, no, I wouldn't say that this was the hardest part for me, because I actually pushed myself into situations where others would smoke, to see if I can consciously say no. And this worked perfectly fine, man. For me, it was really more this, I want to have time for myself. And now, after more than 2 months, I can finally say, instead of wasting 2 hours of my day walking around because I don't know what to gift myself with that new time, I'm actually giving myself 2 hours a day, even if it's just lying around, if it's watching some anime, if it's playing a game on the computer. What brings me actually joy? I ask myself, what brings joy to myself in that time that I now have newly? What can I do just out of pure joy? And I love that I can do now this, instead of having to walk around and distract myself, and I feel much better. But yeah, so were you the enabler of me breaking a boundary now that,
I mean,
after you've heard what's actually going on, or not? How would you perceive this?
I definitely helped, because it was night without me. If I'd have just said no, you wouldn't have been able to have any.
Yeah, but I would have accepted it anyway, man, because
So-
then that's just your boundary, man.
Yeah. But that's another question. Is it would that have been my boundary, or would that have been me protecting yours?
Did you spoke about it in the situation, or just give him the tobacco? Did you said something in this situation?
When I handed it over,
Yeah.
because you requested it via a WhatsApp message,
Yeah.
didn't you? And then
Ah,
when
okay.
I saw him, I just
Yeah.
Did
gave
you
him
ask him
flowers.
something, or did you felt bad and said something?
I didn't say
Yes.
anything at the time, no, but I definitely had an emotional reaction to the situation. Like there was I felt something, you know,
So-
responsible maybe.
Okay, for the reflection for yourself, how would your best version of yourself would act in this situation?
Well, then it gets to the subject of when does the right of your boundaries start to reflect on someone else's?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could have just said no to you to protect. If you'd have asked me before, like if we were out on the walk and you know when you was like, oh, I've you've not smoked for 2.5 months, feeling great, and you would explain about all the free time of the things that you've just been saying. If during that conversation you'd have said to me something like, oh, if I ask for some, please don't give me any.
Yeah. Then I would.
Then you'd have asked for some. That'd have been a
Yeah.
very different situation. So I don't know. Am I enabling that situation? I think if it depends on which lens you look at it through. Are you
Yeah.
looking at it through the filter of your own personal boundaries, or again the topic of today, observing other people's boundaries and helping them or enabling them to break them or keep them. So yeah, I think there's probably a balance of both somewhere along the line. I think there's definitely some personal responsibility, and I think maybe I hadn't set myself a boundary that I would not give you tobacco again. You know, I hadn't really. I mean, it's such a silly little thing, but
Yeah.
it sort of gets to the point of boundaries and how they apply to literally every part of your life, because it is such a small thing, just requesting tobacco. But I hadn't done the mental work myself to decide, well, if he asks me for some, am I going to give it or am I not going to give it?
Yeah.
I hadn't done that work. So then when you messaged me in that moment, the decision was, I obviously ran through the thought process of, we've just had this conversation about him not smoking, feeling good about it. Should I not give it to him? Maybe not, but then he's a grown man. He can make his own decisions if he's asking for something. And so, yeah, it's a very difficult line to draw. And when it comes down, if it's complicated for the tiny things, how are we supposed to make a decision when it comes to the big things, the things that really matter? When it's not someone asking you for a little bit of tobacco, it might be someone asking you for something which is going to be harmful to them, drugs, doing something detrimental to their life, not going to work.
I think
Another inside joke.
I think it's only possible by actually seeking these types of conversations and really getting together and speaking about what is still part of the boundary that I set upon myself and what is not. Because if we would have talked about that, I think then it would have been much more clear and you wouldn't have had this feeling that you just described. I think, so what I just take out of this right now, not just for this type of situation, but for every type of situation where I communicate boundaries and my personal stories with someone, is what is really important to communicate and what's an important matter to communicate. And I think it's really important now to communicate about, when you tell me about the boundary, what would be the way that you wish myself to react upon yours? Because I let you be the way that you are, but when you tell me this, what do you expect of me? How can I best support you in that boundary if such a case like we've just described would come into your life? And I think seeking a conversation like this takes out all the mental work that would have.
Well, there's no
Think
guessing then, is there?
Yeah.
You don't have
No
to
more
think,
guessing,
oh,
yeah.
should I do this, should I do that? Well, take this person's thoughts into consideration.
Yeah.
If you just know what everyone's thinking and feeling,
Yeah. Then it's super easy, right?
Yeah.
But then I think it's also not our own. It's not our responsibility for the other one to. I think it's our responsibility to talk only for ourselves, to take self-responsibility for what we choose, for what we do, and also to let others their responsibility of choosing for themselves. But when it comes to a situation like this where this can happen, then the communication is so important.
Yeah, true that. I actually, when I stopped smoking, I did it like I communicated it in my friend group, my family. I stopped smoking. Like not I tried to stop. I was a non-smoker at this time already, so the framing was important to me. But also I communicate and ask them to hold me accountable when I'm trying to consume again.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really important to me because it helped me really, because sometimes I had these thoughts and this behavioral a kind of musters, was is musters? Patterns, thank you, yeah, in my head that I wanted to do it again, but I forced myself back because I hold myself accountable with my friends.
Cool.
Yeah, that was a really nice decision.
Well, that's
for myself.
communicating your
Exactly.
boundary, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like letting people know where you stand and where you would like help.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes that can be a difficult thing to do, to know when to help somebody and when not.
Yeah.
Like if you see someone breaking one of their own boundaries, like when should you step in? Like for instance, if you'd communicated to your friend group that you'd stop smoking, if one of them saw you sneaking outside one day and going like, should they step in and be like, whoa, you said you weren't doing this?
Yeah.
Is that their responsibility?
I don't think so, actually.
I don't think it's their responsibility, no.
But a really good and true friend to me would at
do.
least ask me,
Yeah.
hey, is it
Yeah.
really what you want to do right now, or
Yeah.
is there something else that goes through your system?
Wanna
What's-
talk about or
what's
something.
what's going on, brother? We can talk.
Yeah.
Approaching me, yeah.
Yeah.
So now I have a question for you, Chris.
Mm.
So since you're also having this situation with another person,
Oh, yes.
so I don't know if you want to tell us the story. You're free to do so.
Well,
or
I'll
not.
tell the story, but I will leave
Yeah.
the names of the parties.
And then I would
'cause I've
really
not
love
asked
to
them if
know
they like
now,
if they would.
after talking about this whole topic, how are you approaching this from now on?
Well, the situation that I'm about to discuss happened about 2 hours ago, so it's very recent,
Very fresh.
to discuss. So, I was with a friend who I've not seen for a long time, so we don't get to see them very often. And they had some time scheduled off work so that we could see each other. But then they are having an extra day off work when they should be technically going to work, in order to spend more time so that we can see each other for longer. So I'm now having this real, because the person that involved, the person in question, this would be the first time in their professional career that they have ever done this, and have expressed that this is not what they do. This is not how they behave. So obviously, on one hand, it's incredibly flattering to be like someone, oh, I'm going to break my normal,
Oh,
my normal standard
sounds like a lot of pressure, man.
operating
Oh my
procedure.
God, that's a lot of pressure, man.
So yeah, that's the situation I'm dealing with. So like a friend is taking more time off work. And not that I think that's like people call in sick and have days off all the time. It's not like that's like, oh, it's a terrible thing, you must go to work. Like if you want a day off, if you want to have a day off sick, have a day off sick. Don't listen to me. But the reason that this is such a big thing is that this is like I'm trying to think of the perfect example off the top of my head, but it's
Character integrity, man.
it's someone that I don't drink wine, for instance. I don't drink wine. Never have drunk wine. To me, the smell of it is repulsive. I want nothing to do with it. So this would be like me walking over to the shelf, taking off a bottle of wine, pouring it, and starting to drink it. This behavior is completely out of character.
Yeah. Okay. No.
So
Oh, fuck.
So yeah.
So for me, because this is a person that I like, and one thing that I do like about them is their integrity.
Yeah.
Is how they frame that around as a huge part of their life.
And how did you deal with this situation?
Well, I mean,
You're dealing it right
I'm
now.
dealing with it.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, so when they said that they were thinking about having the extra day, I was like, look, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to influence your decision. I obviously had a desired outcome that I wanted selfishly for myself. You know, I would like to see them more,
Yeah.
obviously, like,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, that's the situation. How, and what I'm now struggling with, like, is this my boundary, or is, well, the question that I have is what I'm feeling, the thing that I'm struggling with, is it that I am allowing myself to cross a boundary because I'm not holding someone who I hold in high regard to their own standard, or am I enabling someone else to break their boundary, or is it both?
Oof.
That's a tough question.
Wow.
And so where does the responsibility lie? On whose shoulders does it fall? Or through which lens should this even be viewed?
Wow. That's so many great questions.
I
But
think you
also-
can adapt the situation like we have the example before with the tobacco, I guess, right? Because when the person who's crossing his own boundaries don't speak with you in an honest, transparent way that he or she would want to do this, then it's his responsibility
Yeah.
or not,
Yeah.
and not yours in this moment.
Yeah.
No.
Also, when you don't like it, when you see it, but it's his responsibility. I would say.
Yeah.
But what's your opinion about it?
I mean, now that we are talking about it, and basically you got the awareness and these great questions for yourself, I'd look for an open, honest conversation and at least bring it to the table and be like, hey, since I know the value of integrity is really important to you, I listened today and heard this sentence twice or 3 times. And because you are important to me, and I also want you to hold you up to your standards, to your highest values, what would be the way that you want me to treat the situation from now on?
Well, that's real life reflection, guys.
That's
Yeah.
how I would approach it.
Yeah.
And then it's in the hand of the person breaking its own boundary. But then it's at least a self-responsibility, but I also gave my best to support the person.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Have you struggled with something similar where you've seen someone going maybe down a path that you don't think that they should go down, and family life or friends?
That's I don't know, man. I know it for myself. I had a quite similar situation with smoking. When I stopped smoking, I tried still smoking shisha with the friend group because I liked the come together with
the
the
community.
people. Yeah, exactly. But I also, I don't know, I liked the shisha too. So, but not the nicotine. It was just the shisha, the smoke, and with the people. But I was in my feeling inside was like, should I do that? But I felt I shouldn't do it. So I stopped it through the time. But I hold never accountable for me in this situation. But and the people was just looking like, do you want to do this? But I never asked them or I never told them I want. So it was, the situation would be done in this situation, right?
Yeah.
But I never had a family member or a colleague where I had something similar. I have to start thinking about it.
Another example like this.
Just where you feel like it's when it gets to the point where holding something in feels like it's now crossing your own boundary. Like when it gets to a point where you feel like you need to, by not saying something, you're almost betraying yourself.
Oh, whoa, yes.
You know? Because say for instance, like if let's say like with your professional work, with your coaching work, so it's like I'm used to seeing you booking in lots of different people and getting a load of business. If that then suddenly became you were doing one person a week and then it became one person a month, at what point is it as like, because I would want to, because we're always talking about things, about pushing things forward and progressing things, like if all of that stopped, at what point am I like, hey,
What's up, bro?
what's going on?
That's
Is
a
it-
great question.
Wow.
Because
It's
because
like
it starts
this,
to affect me. You know, if I felt like someone wasn't holding themselves to what they would normally are, like if I'm holding that inside, I'm no longer being true to myself and
True that.
no longer discussing. And that's something that about who. That's one of my boundaries. If I can't tell you how I feel, if I can't have a real conversation with someone, then we're not really friends.
Yeah.
Like if I can't speak the truth to you, then I'm now having to change who I, and I don't want to, because I've been that before. And you have to suppress who you are, and it sucks. And you end up having to cultivate your friend group, and some friends you will lose, and things like that. But if you can't be yourself, then I made a boundary for myself of no, I'm no longer going to bend to the will of everybody else.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting, because actually you said something like, I learned at the seminar a few months ago, you create your own core team in this situation. So when you are really have this deep connection with them, with this core team, and being honest and transparent with them, you hold yourself accountable when some things in your job maybe, or relationship or family, doesn't matter, something went wrong, because they hold you up in this situation, right? Maybe you break down insidely, maybe you have an emotional time, doesn't matter, because they are still here for you. So you have to communicate this one, hey, when this situation will come that I'm breaking down, and maybe I have only one client per month or per week, and you realize something's wrong with me, then hold me accountable and ask me questions why, and then bring me back on track, so we can push each other upstairs. So yeah, that's really great. I really like this framework.
Wow.
What do you think about? Do you guys have a core team?
Yeah. Yes.
It's a good question.
Do you communicate with them like you have a core team? So to hold yourself accountable?
Well, that's what we do now with the Boundary Institute.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we with all of that stuff, definitely. There's a
Yeah.
core team there. I was trying to think of it more sort of personally.
personal
like
way?
my personal
Ooh.
life. I mean,
Yes, I have this with three best friends. I do
Yeah.
it with you for
Yeah.
once. I do it with Adrian and with Ernesto and with you too. And you're basically my inner circle core team, which I communicate honestly what's going on. But I'm not doing it the same with everyone. So let's say for the more emotional topics, I'd like to talk with Ernesto, because we give ourselves the same kind of open emotional space for everything to just be just listening, and not giving any advices that are not asked for, which is just a great way. And then with every one of my best friends, I have like this certain type of communication that goes on, and that is just normal. But I really like this framework too, and I might gonna apply this from tomorrow on more in a personal way, because in a work, when it's about work, hold me accountable to what I'm saying I'm gonna do, and if I'm not gonna do, then it's my responsibility to communicate that before it's too late.
yeah.
And then that's my standard that I want to hold up, and if I don't, then not that you have the right to slap me, but I mean, tell me straight in my face if so, and that's how you can help me be the best version of myself, which I invited you to hold myself up to. But wow, man, what a great topic. Wow.
It's
How
a
about
fine
you,
line,
brother?
because you want to help people. Like if you're the type of personality that I have, I always want to help. Like even if like to the like suicidal empathy type help. Like I can't help it.
Self-martyrdom.
Like, I just want, if I see someone struggling with something, I just like you know, I can help. I'm on my way. I can't help it. But it's where do you find the balance? Where do you strike that line of helping yourself, helping others? It's
Because when you do it too much, it's probably like people pleasing.
of course, yeah. And so when it comes to breaking a boundary, even though you want to help and you could see it as helping, you also need to help by doing sometimes nothing.
Yeah.
The best help you could do is say no and do nothing.
Yeah.
True that.
which is always hardest with your friends and people that you care about.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh yeah. Did you had the situation once that you wanted to help so hard, but you make it even worse with your help?
Yeah, I mean, having raised children, you go through that a lot, you know. But it's a lot,
I don't know.
it's a lot easier with kids, but to sort of go through that. But it's simple things like don't touch that, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
but I wanna. No, don't touch it, you know. It's simple in that way, and then the things get more complex as they get older, and then obviously when people can reason and make their own mind up and their own decisions and have their own rationale as to why they're doing these
Yeah,
things.
with the big Y.
Yeah, that's when it gets really, really difficult. When someone's coming to you and asking for help, but you know that your help would actually hurt them. Yeah, that will always be the trickiest thing.
No.
100%. And the same for setting your boundaries. It's always the things where it's going to affect you emotionally. You know, it's not just an effect on the other person. Your actions just to help them will affect you in one way or another.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about this in the German podcast today, that this topic, especially with family and the nearest relatives, that's like the end boss.
Yeah, yeah, it's
That's
super
end
end
boss
yeah,
level.
yeah.
Like to the persons and beings, friends that stand nearest to us, communicating boundaries to them when it's really about the time to do so. I have one little example that is not too old. 1 or 2 weeks ago, I had this situation with a new old friend, an old friend because I know him from many other lives, but a new in this life. And we started to spend more time together, or let's say I started to give him more access to my time. And the way that he communicated was in a way that was taking from me. So I knew that when I would spend more time with him, that I would lose energy, I would lose time, and in the ultimate also money and everything else, because it felt like he was starting to suck me out if I wasn't communicating a clear and strict boundary. And so he, on one hand, he really helped me to see where is my boundary about friendship, what is really needed for me, what do I want to have to really give someone access to my time. And on the other hand, I had to kind of go through this experience of really setting this clear and strict boundary and then seeing what happens when he oversteps it again, and then I communicate it again and he oversteps it again, what happens with myself. And we always talk about this Ampelsystem.
How do you say it in English?
It's the green, yellow, orange when
On the
driving
street,
the car.
traffic lights.
Traffic light
Traffic
system.
lights, yeah, exactly.
So when communicating boundaries, we can do that in a green way, in a yellow way, or in a red way. So I tried it first with the green way, didn't work.
Yeah.
Then switched to the yellow way, still didn't work. Then switched to the yellow way, and I
Right.
was angry, and I was pissed, and I was mad, and I got ice cold, and didn't work. And at the end, I was just, I throw you out right now.
Just
Go
the
fuck
consequence.
off.
Yeah.
Fuck off right now. I don't want to hear another word. You're not gonna get access to my time until this boundary is clearly respected. And the next day, I talked to him again and did it in a green yellow way. And then it gave him this huge click moment. He was so grateful for that moment, and he said like, I'm not I don't.
I'm not mad at you.
I'm not mad at you for doing that, because you actually helped me see myself better and where I overstepped boundary. And now it helped him realize why he had certain situations with his ex-partner because of that boundary that was
okay.
communicated. So in the end, now he respects my boundary. It's super cool when we spend time, and he had many realizations off of that moment. So I see how communicating boundaries, even if it is not in the best fashion, because maybe we are so triggered that it doesn't work a different way, it always helps, and it always is a win-win in the end. Because when I say yes to myself, that's allowing the other self to also say yes to himself. And I know from my own experience, from saying too much yes to the other self without actually saying yes to myself, that it always landed in some sort of codependency and having toxic patterns where we suddenly had to speak about everything before doing a decision, and not being able to do decisions for myself when it's just about my own life. Man, that feels shit. I don't feel like a man if I cannot decide for my own.
No.
I'm honest. And that's why this whole boundary topic, and especially the topic that we opened up today, it's so deep. Also asking myself, when someone communicates his boundary and his standard to me, and now I know what he would do normally, and now he's about to break that, and he told me twice and triple time. Now I know how important it is actually. Now will I ask? I do it the way that I already described it in the podcast, but I definitely then from now on want to know, so what is the way that you want me to react to this? Because I like you so much that I want to help you be your best, but you define what your best is, because it's not on me.
Connection much deeper.
That will make such a deeper connection,
Yeah.
and I think the relationship that is based on that deep foundation is just so much more worth it to spend time with, to then even break a boundary for once if it's needed.
Yeah.
I mean, if after this topic, if after this talk, then the other person decides to spend more time with you,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
that's lots of love. And then I would also be able to really appreciate it without feeling I kind of was the enabler because I didn't react to it. I think if I was in your shoes, that's what I would feel like the next day. I'm like, yeah, thank you for spending the time with me. I really appreciate it. But at some point, I also don't really feel
Still a little bit guilt, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like the feeling of having this when spending it with someone, because I want to be fully present. I want to be fully here. And that's why now I learned something out of this podcast. So thank you so much
thank
for
you.
And I think that's
for bringing that up.
the biggest takeaway, and kind of a nice way to wrap it all up, is that if you are in one of those situations where you're feeling like you're presented with someone telling you that they're going to break their own boundary, and it gives you that like you're having a reaction to it because some part of that is breaking a boundary for you as well, talk about it. In that moment, and and clarify, like, how do you want me to help you reinforce what I know are your boundaries? Because in this moment you're telling me you're about to break one and it's making me uncomfortable. So how do you want me to help you so that we can both move forward from this situation guilt-free and happy? And like you said, if sometimes it's having, breaking one boundary doesn't mean then you've suddenly everything's out of the window. It's the same with Christians and sin. Like, just because you sin one time doesn't mean that's it, you're excluded and you're out of heaven. It's like it's a constant process.
We're not robots, right?
Exactly.
Like when you want to try a new habit, maybe you're failing once or twice or 3 times, but when you still standing up and go forward and still growing.
And I also want to wrap this up in that way, that when we then get to the point of we want to break this boundary, we at least do it fully conscious and present, and then also don't have a bad self-talk. Leave that behind, really let go and enjoy this fucking moment that we do it consciously. Because then whenever we want to pick up back on our standards, we can easily. It's just when we don't talk about it, and now it's just somewhere, I always say it's like a cloud we carry with us, and I see those clouds around people, that it wasn't cool, and it damages more than it actually unites us. So yeah, man, seems like this can be a really uniting, connecting way of deepening the bond between a relationship, between a partner and a friend.
And help understand each other more.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, what do you mean? Do we end this podcast episode? I'm gonna do the usual way.
It's a nice spot right there.
Perfect. All right, people. Then this is the end of this podcast episode. Like I always tell you in every episode, if you've heard a story that helped you or it could help someone then this might be your duty to not be the fucking gatekeeper that keeps everything to himself. So sharing is caring. Don't be the Karen, okay? because sometimes I also say Sharon is Karen.
Sharon is Karen.
So Sharon is basically the one gatekeeping and holding it to himself. No, it's also it's just me profiting on it.
Sharon is
So
a
don't
gatekeeping
be the
Karen.
Sharon.
All right.
No Karens, no Sharons here. Share it with love, and if you have a great story to tell, or you have something to reply on how we could go through these situations, please share it with us, because we can learn from your golden nuggets, from your stories as well.
Absolutely. If you've got this far in the episode, then clearly something's clicked with you,
Yeah.
something has resonated. So yeah, either share it or just save it for future reference so that you can, talk to other people about it. Because yeah, there's like us three do this for a living. We're talking about and have a book about setting boundaries, but even in our own day-to-day lives right now are finding and experiencing new problems and having things. So literally we've helped ourselves in an episode figure out how to deal with a boundary. So yeah,
That's amazing.
So
thank you all for coming.
see you in the next time by the Boundary Talk. Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.
Ciao, and give us a follow if you haven't yet, and a like as well. You do it now. Now if you haven't. Don't be the Sharon, Karen.
Don't be the Karen Sharon.